Rain pounds the street in low, percussive bursts. I stop outside a townhouse glowing with soft amber light, invitation trembling in my hand. For a heartbeat, I wonder if I'm truly welcome. Then I push the door open. Candle reflections glitter in beads of water on the window panes, and every voice hushes at once. The air is thick, heavy, packed with the scent of incense and expectation. My footsteps echo on ancient tiles. A Sami elder fingers a feather, lips moving in silent song. The Quechua healer hums, hands pressed in prayer over a folded cloth. The Moroccan talisman keeper, cheeks streaked with desert dust, pressed a knotted string between her palms. I catch the faintest click of beads as I set down my umbrella, heart pounding with new uncertainty. A healer in a blue sari looks up first, steadying herself. She meets my gaze, then glances sideways, eyes shadowed. "Did you feel it? The chill?" she whispers to her neighbor. He shifts uneasily, thumb circling a scar hidden by his robe. "Never been like this. There is something new, something strong in the room." The Laplander's gaze narrows. "Are they the sign we saw on the moon last week?" he mutters, voice low, jaw clenched. His fingers tighten around a rune-carved stone, tracing patterns deep into his flesh. I hesitate by the door, rain cascading down my coat, uncertainty threading through every muscle. My own amulet jittery at my throat, pulse thumping. "Should I stay?" I ask, voice hardly more than a hush. Nobody answers. Each healer only shares a weighted look, passing silent question after silent question around the room. A Brazilian herbalist adjusts her scarf, eyes wide and searching. She leans in close to the woman beside her, breathing. If the prophecy's true, tonight's the fulcrum. We witness. Then what? A single bead falls from her wrist and rolls, forgotten, beneath the shadow of the council table. The room breathes in as one. Then, without warning, every healer stands. Some bite their lips, others offer the briefest nod of respect. The Peruvian curandera drops salt in a spiral, a silent prayer of safety. A monk scribbles a glowing rune onto torn parchment, folding it deep into his sleeve. One by one they slip from the circle, movements careful but final. No words, no accusations, only the sound of footsteps on wet tile and the hush that follows the closing door. I'm left alone. Rain still tapping the windows, sacred stones and worn tokens scattered on the table before me. My breath shakes once. The air buzzes as if alive. Every candle flame bent toward me, violet shadows swirling on old walls. I run my finger across the spiral of salt, feeling the old magic quicken under my touch. In the quiet, I whisper, "What did they see in me?" The hush deepens, sharper than thunder, as outside the storm finally breaks and a single candle blinks blue in the gloom. Thunder rolls far off as I cross the slick stone step. The door groans on its hinges, a sound old as memory itself. The air shifts as I enter, heavy with myrrh and something sharper, rain fresh and electric. The tile, worn smooth by centuries of feet, chills the soles of my shoes. I pause, heart tight, as the hush inside presses in. A healer from Tunisia, adjusting her copper scarf, glances at me sideways, eyes cautious. She murmurs in French, "Did you see how the candles flicker?" Her partner, a Maori Tohunga with spiral tattoos fading at his knuckles, rubs his jaw. "It's as if every relic in the room is listening," he says, voice edged with wonder. "Never felt the energy spin like this. Not for any gathering I've joined before." My steps click, too loud, too deliberate, as I pass long tables draped in woven cloth, laden with stones, runes, and small iron vessels. The faint click of beads now matches my own breath, every movement mirrored by the slow, synchronized inhales around me. A Greek dream priest, her hand resting on an etched shell, lets out a careful sigh. None of the old rules say what to do if the air thickens this way. My mother would have left by now, she whispers. Shadows stretch farther in the corners. A Korean mudang, face partially hidden behind a red fan, exchanges a fast look with the Congolese herbalist, both clutching their amulets as if new meanings hide inside old carvings. The hush tugs at me, pulling against my hesitation. Everyone's posture is taut, some protectively clutching old scars, others tracing silent prayers on their palms. The air's expectation prickles, almost visible like static across silk. I let my hand drift to my chest, fingers tapping the small talisman I brought from home. Should I announce myself, or simply wait to be seen? No instructions, just the room's ancient tension folding in, and every breath braided with something unknown. As the rain outside softens, the scent of myrrh mingles with it, familiar, but suddenly full of questions. The rules of this place may be unspoken, but now, as every eye glances my way, they are also being rewritten. A healer drops a single bead, its tiny click echoing. I swallow, shoulders straightening, and take my place in the circle. The tension holds, neither welcome nor warning, just raw potential. For now, I sit, listening as the energy builds around me, waiting for the moment it all might break or bloom. A soft chime rings, then dissolves into silence as the hour arrives. At the center, the Peruvian curandera kneels and pours salt in a slow, thoughtful spiral. Her hand hovers above it, trembling just once. "This one brings back an old story," she murmurs, not meeting anyone's eyes. Beside her, a Thai monk unrolls parchment, his fingertips leaving streaks of gold as glowing runes materialize against the paper. He barely glances up. His mouth forms a silent prayer. I step forward, uncertain whether to speak or simply breathe. The air thickens. Every candle along the wall sputters, violet blue for an instant. A cracked ceramic bowl on the offering table pops loudly, startling several healers. All around the room, gazes flick from me to each other, words caught behind closed lips. A Congolese root worker, her bracelets jangling, leans into the Sami elder. "Something's wrong," she whispers. It feels like the ground listened and shifted. Sami shakes her head, tracing a spiral in the condensation on her water glass. "Never seen a presence unsettle the fire like that," she replies. "Maybe the circle needed breaking." One healer stands abruptly, laying a stone etched with runes before my feet, his jaw tight, voice low. "For protection, in case the story's heavier than you know." He glances at the others, faces pale, some solemn, some afraid, some quietly awed. A Brazilian herbalist lays a braid of red thread beside the spiral. "No one told us what to do for this feeling. We're taught healing units, but tonight, it divides." Her eyes meet mine, apology folding into resolve before she turns away. Without a signal, the healers begin to rise. Some bow, some cross themselves, others share hurried parting glances. Each leaves something behind. A feather marked in midnight ink, a copper coin, a piece of patterned cloth, a pressed flower. Doors open and close, muffled but deliberate. One last healer pauses, hand hovering at my shoulder. "Remember, your presence changed the room for a reason. Keep whatever is left. It's yours now." I'm left standing, surrounded by tokens, every relic humming with questions and potential. On the table, the violet candle burns steady. In the salt spiral, a bead gleams, catching light as the door hushes shut behind the last to leave. I kneel, palm hovering above the offerings, unsure if I am meant to claim the relics or simply witness them. The tension lingers, new, raw, brimming with warning and possibility. The silence vibrates, not empty, but waiting for the first act of a story that has only just begun. The quiet is enormous after so much presence. Only the steady tick of the wall clock and the faint hum of rain against glass. I crouch, breath catching, as I reach for the first relic left behind. The Sami drum lies silent, its painted patterns cool beneath my fingertips. The Yoruba bead in my palm is warm, beating faintly as if it remembers hands much older than mine. I glance at the feather shadowed in pale moonlight. Its edge ripples when I exhale. Just a tremor, but enough to make me pause. "What do you hold?" I murmur, turning the feather to catch the hidden ink on its shaft. A single rune, carved so small I could almost miss it, pulses blue. My skin prickles with uncertainty, but the urge to understand overtakes the hush. I arrange the tokens in a circle, a stone, a thread, a coin, a pressed flower. Each object prickles with a different mood. The braid hums with promise, the rune-etched stone with warning, the petal folded around the coin with bittersweet memory. "Did you all leave your stories?" I whisper into the hush. "Or do they become mine now?" My hands close over the bead, pulse jumping. A chill runs up my arm, quiet but not lonely. The room feels as if it's watching, wordless but charged with possibility. I close my eyes. Images flicker. Salt spirals reforming, midnight feathers tumbling in snow, chanting that rises and fades like smoke. "Your presence changed the gathering," the last healer had said. "Now it's just me, the relics, and this unspoken connection, challenge, invitation, warning, woven into every artifact." I sit amongst the tokens, moonlight spilling over the table, the beads clicking softly when I shift my weight. The silence thickens, not dead but ripe, as if just waiting for me to ask the first question or make the next move. Moonlight slides gently across the relics, etching each token in silver as I settle cross-legged amid the silent circle. My fingers drift over the braid of thread and the rune stone. The hush in the room, thick as velvet. The drip of water from the gutter invades the background, sharp and steady. I close my eyes, letting each sound root me deeper, not in fear, but in a steadying kind of curiosity. I whisper, "I've never known a gathering to end like this. Why did you all leave?" The words linger, unanswered. The single blue candle gutters, flame dwindling, before surging with an unexpected snap. My heart jumps. I grip the amulet at my throat. A memory flashes. Old circles always closed in laughter, with hands joining over shared prayers. Now I am alone with relics meant for other hands. The taste of abandonment strange on my tongue. "Maybe," I mutter, unsure if I'm convincing myself, "this isn't abandonment. Maybe it's a test, or an opening." Rain intensifies, crossing from gentle to insistent, beating patterns against the darkened glass. I replay the evening, every healer's wary glance, the tension that thickened the air as if expecting some prophecy to break. The last words echo, "Keep what's left. It's yours now." I breathe in, deep, slow, letting my mind wander the edge between hope and worry. A new question grows. What did I wake up in? Why leave gifts instead of curses, silence instead of accusation? The relics vibrate with their own stories, but now my journey carries every unknown, heavy with responsibility. I tell myself, to hold these is to be held by their history. Whether or not I feel ready, I am woven into what comes next. With the hush mounting and the world outside blurred to grays, I sense clarity beginning to form, not as an answer, but as a challenge to move forward. I watch the tip of the blue flame draw shadows across the runes, and in that quiet, my breath calms. I choose to sit, listen, and trust, knowing the meaning may only reveal itself with sunrise, or not at all. Gray dawn presses at the window as I gather the relics into my satchel, their weight a strange anchor on my shoulder. Alone wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. My breath steams as I step into the street, rain now a memory clinging to the stones. If the answers aren't here, maybe they're waiting in the places these relics began, I murmur, hoping to thread through the uncertainty. First, I travel to Mongolia, hiking through wild grasslands under a sky wide as any fear. In a round tent steeped in smoke, a shaman studies the red thread braid. This knot is a promise that never breaks, he says, holding it to the sun. The one who left it knew you'd carry everyone's story, not just your own. He draws a spiral in ash by the fire, nodding as if that explanation were enough. A river calls me to Nigeria, where an oracle greets me by the water's edge. She squints into the cracked bowl, half clay, half river mud, tracing lines running out from its center. I see roots, she whispers, and rivers threading together. To break this bond is to break yourself. Let these things teach you to listen, not just to ask. She drops a pebble in the bowl. Its ripple seems to echo in my chest. In each culture, the meaning shifts. In the Mongolian yurt, smoke drills upward, carrying a story of bonds tested by wind and distance. By the Nigerian river, red ochre stains my fingers when I draw a card for guidance. It marks a reminder that what I seek may stain and shape me forever. Every place, every elder, offers not answers, but ways to stand inside my own questions. As I return, relics heavier now with story than with silence, I find myself more curious than afraid. Perhaps none of us are meant to understand everything, I think, watching smoke blend with dawn. But if I can hold what's given, cross borders of ritual and certainty, maybe something new will rise from all these crossings. Salt on my palm, ochre on my hands, smoke in my hair. I sit beneath the window, relics spread around me, certain only that my presence is both question and invitation, wherever I go. The door closes at dusk as I settle with the relics in my lap, breathing in their woven stories. I turn the Mongolian braid, feeling each knot pull at questions I used to ignore. Fingers stained with red ochre, I recall the oracle's words by the river. Let silence teach you to listen. The room around me is quiet, but the air holds the soft echo of ceremonies half the world away. A chime of messages interrupts the hush. Voices from Morocco, Brazil, Lapland, and beyond. I tap the first message. A healer from Brazil speaks in accented English, eyes bright. Long ago, I walked into a circle and everyone stopped singing. They called me uninvited. But after I left, children started drawing new symbols in the dust. Elders began asking new questions. She pauses, lips trembling. What you felt, I've felt too. Not rejection, but change. A Moroccan talisman bearer leans close to her camera, voice low. Some presences unmask secrets we hide, even from ourselves. You're not alone in breaking the quiet. In my lineage, silence is the cost, but also the invitation for renewal. I nod, my heart squeezing at the unexpected kinship. A video call begins. Yoruba priest, Sami singer, Congolese herbalist, all sharing stories of times the gathering cracked open around someone new. Some stories thrum with warning, healers banished, entire rituals rewritten in the aftermath. Others brim with hope, a circle learning to welcome what tradition once feared. My voice finds its place among theirs, halting with vulnerability. I never meant to be the cause, just a witness, but maybe stepping in at the wrong time is a kind of calling. Heads nod in agreement, some eyes wet, some simply fierce with recognition. By the hour's end, secrets traded in hushed tones have come into the light. What was left unsaid before is now the seed for a different kind of communion. I understand. Awakening is not perfection or comfort. It's risking truth, even when the room shakes. A Sami elder raises a small drum with new spiral markings and says, "Leaving silence is always the first step. Welcome." The words ring, resonant, as moonlight flickers across the courtyard wall, shadow puppets dancing in the white glow, beckoning more voices to join the tale. Have you ever entered a room or situation and felt everything shift? Energy, focus, even the people? Describe that experience below. Dawn creeps sluggish across the windows, lighting the floor with restless shadows. My messages rumble and ping, elders from distant cities calling for a final council. I ready the circle, each relic in its place. My heart races as the first elders arrive, some faces familiar with caution, others masked by history and old wounds. One elder, shoulders draped in indigo, stands with arms crossed. She clears her throat, voice clipped. "You know why we're here." Your entrance forced a question. Was it a sign or a warning? Another, beard streaked with silver, fixes his gaze on the spiral etched in salt. His fingers tremble as he rubs a twisted ring. No one has bent the circle's tone in years. Was it prophecy or pride? A young healer, left out before, speaks for the first time. Hope burning. Change can be sacred too. Why must we fear what tradition never named? Their words ripple. Murmurs break the silence, some in agreement, some sharp with resistance. My breath hitches. What if awakening is not a threat, but a responsibility? Old ways serve us, but when the world shifts, shouldn't we shift too? The tension crackles. A Lithuanian singer, hands inked with old prayers, shakes her head reluctantly. We test sacred things for a reason. Not every door is meant to open just because it can. Arguments spiral, debate blooming and sparking like dry wood catching flame. One group insists on caution, another presses for renewal. A thunderclap shakes the roof, candles gutter and nearly die. Then, as if agreeing to disagree, a sudden, stunning gold spark arcs across the salt spiral. Everyone freezes, eyes locked on the ember dancing along the circle's edge. "Consensus," whispers the Congolese herbalist, voice a hush. "If nothing else, you brought the question into the open." The circle glows orange-red where tradition's mark meets the new. An elder offers a tentative smile. "Let us write new rules together, not to erase but to amend. The choice is before us now." A hush falls as the flames pulse, old and new marks glowing side by side. No victory, no defeat, just the certainty that the room will never be the same. The room is hushed, the glow of orange-red embers casting new shapes across old tile. I gather the relics, one by one, the salt spiral reformed by my breath, the braid, the runestone, the feather with midnight ink. My hands tremble, but my voice steadies. Tonight I choose to honor what was and what needs to be. I look into the circle, meeting every gaze, some wary, some shining with new conviction. This ceremony isn't by the old rules, it's by presence. I vow to listen to the stories left in these tokens, to protect the space where fear meets hope. My shadow lengthens as I step into the spiral's center. Ancestral drums begin, faint at first, pulsing just behind the walls, as if ancestors themselves breathe encouragement. The Mongolian braid thrums with new warmth. I wind it around my wrist, voice gentle. Stories are knots, unbroken even by leaving. I carry this bond for all unwilling witnesses, for every question only silence could answer. One elder nods, tears bright in her eyes. I place the rune stone at the spiral's heart, feather laid beside it. Marks of protection, promise, memory, blend here. May this circle tonight welcome difference, not as danger, but as beginning. The young healer, hope alive, kneels beside me in the salt. You've spoken what we would not. We're not bound by yesterday's boundaries if we bless them and move on. I let the pressed flower rest beside the tokens, its color deepening as candlelight brightens. The energy stirs, feathers lifting as if in sudden wind. Shadows that once clung to the corners recede, the room growing lighter, not by erasing what hurts, but by making space for what must grow. A hush falls after my vow, then a Cuban elder steps forward, palm lifted. Let your courage be our tradition. Tonight we claim this ceremony as ours, all of us together. The drums rise a beat, louder, then settle. I step back, circle complete. The relics at last united, the legacy newly named. For the first time, all who remain meet my look and see not just a stranger, but the bridge that renewed the fire and fixed the line. Breath drawn, I watch the salt spiral lift in a final draft, feathers swirling, reminding us every awakening is chosen and earned. Dawn is a whisper on the horizon as word of the circle's change spreads. At first the news arrives in gentle ways, messages whispered along family tables, stories traded in morning light. I listen to an elder's call from Seoul, her voice buoyant. Today, the Mudang fanned a new feather. She said it was for the ones who chose to stay. Nobody argued. In Arizona, a Navajo medicine man sings a new chant. His students join in, bright with curiosity, untroubled by tradition's shadows for the first time. A friend in Morocco sends photos of doorways dusted with spiral marks. We used to sweep these away. Now the whole neighborhood leaves them, to keep new dreams from slipping through the cracks. I watch lantern-lit gardens filled with gathering, healers from every background, adding their own twist. Some recite blessings, others share laughter or tears. Online, the whispers become an anthem. Practitioners in Brazil live-stream updated rituals. Feather and stone join together. Old taboos now spoken as stories for children to question and translate. Some treat the changes with caution, uncertain, but most welcome the shift, asking, who else will we invite next? As dusk falls, I light my own lantern on the steps outside, its spiral etched in dust. The air carries new sounds, chants in languages I barely know, drum beats echoing off distant roofs. The world isn't erased, it's transformed. For the first time, gatherings everywhere don't fear presence but celebrate it. Each new arrival trusted as a spark for tomorrow's story. I close my eyes, hand pressed lightly to the relics at my side, feeling the ripple build. Not a storm, but a song that refuses to fade. Night closes in. I sit by the window, relics spread over misted glass, their shapes mixing with city lights and distant thunder. A new message appears, a skeptical voice. Change isn't always better. What did your circle lose when tradition shifted? I hesitate before replying, tracing a spiral on the cool glass. Doubt sharpens my breath, an ache in my chest. I wonder too, I whisper, honest. Part of me aches for what the rules gave us, even as I carry what their boundaries denied. As rain rattles the sill, stories arrive from those who never dared enter their own circles, not until the lines moved. A young woman from Poland shares, "You opened a door I thought was sealed. After, my grandmother finally taught me a blessing she'd kept silent for years." A South African healer types, "In our house, old voices still argue, but the ones who were quiet now speak loudest at dawn. That's not weakness, it's resilience. Sometimes the pushback stings. An elder writes, 'You're letting the sacred rot.' My fingers tremble as I reply, 'The sacred can breathe. I'm tending both memory and change as best I know how.' Others chime in, skepticism, praise, questions blurring into one long, uncertain thread. I pace the room, sighing as thunder fades. My palm presses into the spiral, breath slowing with each circle, drawn. I tell myself, resistance isn't a wall. It's the pulse of something old making space for hope. Light from the street flickers through orange blossom and cinnamon scent, carrying with it the worn, steady beat of a drum in the next room. Tonight, I choose not to push doubt away. Instead, I set the tokens in a spiral, close my eyes, and let both resistance and hope settle together. One feeding the other, each making the path more real. Has someone ever questioned your right to join or change something you care about? How did you respond? Or wish you did? Add your thoughts. Morning arrives with dew shimmering on the windowsill. I stand by the circle, the tokens radiating gentle light, feeling the ache of last night's questions soften in my chest. The door creaks, a sound like an old story opening. A healer steps in, face gentle with fatigue but eyes warmed by forgiveness. Without a word, she places her hand on my shoulder and holds it there, grounding me. A Sami elder follows, voice gruff yet trembling. "You carried what none of us could face alone," he says. He presses a spiral-etched amulet to my chest, its metal cold at first, a promise that cools and calms the restless hope in my breath. His thumb lingers, tracing new symbols into memory. A Brazilian herbalist appears, her laughter tentative but real. "Every circle needs someone to test the walls," she admits. Her hands cradle a cup of herb tea for me, steam rising in the chilly air. A blessing is spoken at dawn, words half in prayer, half in hope. The circle doesn't close as before. Now every return feels like a beginning. We gather together, shoulders touching, arms linked, laying a new stone at the center of the spiral. Its rough face is half curse breaker, half promise. The Sami elder lets his tears fall, blessing the joined hands with silent welcome. For a long moment, nobody speaks. Instead, we listen to hearts beating in collective relief and trust. The light shifts. Dewy gold glints off the chalice carved with spirals. The room holds its breath, old wounds rest, and new vows are born, not as ends, but as fresh expansions. We leave the relics gathered and the new stone anchored, a sign that what broke was never truly destroyed, only remade. Evening settles, golden and light sweet, as I step into the renewed gathering. This time, the circle is wider, more open, the boundaries drawn not by tradition but by hope. Laughter rises in soft bursts. The scent of orange blossom weaves with cinnamon, stirring old memories and new belonging into the air. One by one, we gather. The Sami elder whose drum now marks new beginnings. The Brazilian herbalist with her easy, contagious laughter. Healers from every corner. their symbols stitched into scarves, beads, or simply the lines of their palms. I kneel at the new stone, half cursebreaker, half promise, placed at the spiral's heart, feeling its rough edges under my fingers. A young healer, voice trembling, but sure, offers a prayer. Let each hand carry not just memory, but promise. She raises a candle, flame burning bright, and with a quiet nod, passes it to her neighbor. The fire moves, ember to ember, never once guttering, each person sharing a hope, a story, a burden spoken aloud. I wish for bridges, not walls, someone breathes. Another, let the ones left out be the first to light the dawn. My turn comes. My hand shakes as I hold the flame. We are more when we witness, together. Old rules held us, but presence remakes us. Pulse racing, I pass the candle on. A drumbeat builds, syncing with my heartbeat, the sound warm, bold, alive. The air glows, each face reflected in flickering light, acceptance deepening in every glance. By the end, the flame circles back, unchanged and undimmed. We feel the difference, not just in ritual, but in the shared breath, the stories crossing from one heart to another. Legacy is no longer solitary. It belongs to the circle, to each presence that dared to stay and witness, to pass the light, awake, unbroken, bright. Sunrise spills through the open window, warm and gold, brushing the spiral at the center of our circle. I wait at the threshold, breathing in the scent of dew and old stories. The relics, stone, feather, rune, and thread, remain, but their weight is different now. Reminders not of risks or warnings, but of everything possible. I run my fingers along the spiral-etched chalice at the heart of the room, letting memory and promise tangle in my pulse. What's left after a gathering like this? I wonder aloud, voice soft as the chime of wind. Is it the circle, or the courage to step beyond it? My answer comes in quiet presence, healings half seen, hopes ignited with each new arrival. As I leave, I see the open door behind me, morning light dazzling on the threshold. May every circle break, renew, and grow, I whisper, feeling the world sharpen, colors bright and deep. The sacred is no longer confined to a single room or set of rules. It follows wherever courage lingers, wherever stories wait to be witnessed. For those listening in, if this journey moved you, subscribe for more mysteries and share. What gathering, dream, or moment has changed you most, and why? A quiet chime rings as I step outside, a spiral of wind weaving through the open windows, carrying questions. Never just endings, but invitations to keep awakening.